Fatima bint Muhammad al-Fihri al-Qurayshi was the founder and patron of the world's first university in the history of mankind. The institution is commonly known as the University of Qayrawiyyin. It is in Fez, Morocco. Today it stands and continues to promote learning and education. It was over 1,000 years ago, in the 9th century, that the concept of institutionalized academic learning and research was born. From the foundation of her very first brick, Fatima al-Fihri resolved to observe ritual fast daily for as long as the building was under construction. A wealthy widow, Fatima al-Fihri invested all of her inheritance towards financing what eventually became the Qayrawiyyin Mosque and later on university, the world's first degree-granting institution of higher learning. Al-Qayrawiyyin predates Oxford and Cambridge by 300 years. Both Leo Africanus and Muhammad al-Idrisi were reported to have attended the University of Qayrawiyyin. Ala ad-Din Abu al-A'la Ali ibn Abi Hazm al-Qurayshi, better known as Ibn al-Nafis, was born in the 13th century. He was a physician that explained the basic principles of pulmonary circulation. He wrote the famous Sharh Tashrih al-Qanun, which explains how blood circulates in the body. He also became the first person to challenge Galen's false theory that blood could pass through the cardiac interventricular septum. The work of Ibn al-Nafis predates the findings of Sir William Harvey, which was only published in 1628. Yet despite having discovered these facts almost 350 years before Sir William Harvey, Ibn al-Nafis is not always fully credited for his immense contribution in this field. That fact was acknowledged in 1957 by Professor Dr. J.B. Latham of the University of Manchester at a centenary on the death of William Harvey. This was reported by the Sunday Times on the 9th of June 1957. Long before Leonardo da Vinci, there was Badi' al-Zaman, Abu al-Izz Ismail ibn al-Razzaz al-Jazari. The engineering genius who, among many famous inventions, designed and built a programmable humanoid, but perhaps his most significant invention was the revolutionary crank connecting rod. By converting rotary motion to linear motion, the crank enables the lifting of heavy objects with relative ease. This powerful technology, pioneered by Al-Jazari in the 12th century, was soon adopted globally, resulting in everything from the modern bicycle to the internal combustion engine. Notwithstanding his amazing inventions and literary achievements, Al-Jazari also developed the earliest water supply system powered by gears and hydropower. He was a polymath, a scholar, an inventor, a mathematical engineer, an artist and a mathematician. He is best remembered for his book of knowledge of ingenious mechanical devices, in which he provides details of 100 mechanical devices. Born in the Andalusian city of Malaga at the end of the 12th century, Ibn al-Baytar al-Malaki became a gifted pharmacist, botanist, physician, and scientist. Ibn al-Baytar traveled throughout the Islamic world, collecting various plants on the way. This ongoing study resulted in his most celebrated literary accomplishment, namely his compendium on simple medicaments and foods. This was an encyclopedic book wherein Ibn al-Baytar catalogues nearly 1400 plants, foods, and drugs, systematically recording their properties and uses. The book contains many references to 150 previous books written in Arabic and 20 more from Greek tradition. Ibn al-Baytar's lasting contribution was in his discovery and documentation of up to 400 new types of herbal medicine previously unknown to physicians in the Middle Ages. Ibn al-Baytar died in Damascus in the year 1248 CE. Muhammad ibn Musa al-Khawarizmi is the fantastic author of Al-Kitab al-Mukhtasar fi Hisab al-Jabr wal-Muqabala, which is a compendium on advanced calculations serving as the foundation of modern-day algebra. It was translated into Latin in the 12th century. Al-Khawarizmi's writings introduced Hindu-Arabic numerals and the concept of algebra into European mathematics. His compendium also contains sections on the calculation of areas and volumes of geometric figures, and also on the use of algebra for solving inheritance issues in accordance to the Quranic principle prescribed by Sharia. Al-Khawarizmi lived in Baghdad, where he worked at the Dar al-Hikmah, the famous house of wisdom patronized by Caliph al-Ma'mun. Al-Khawarizmi served there, where he revised old and classical works of Ptolemy and also corrected many of their mistakes. He worked on measuring the volume of the circumference of Earth and also contributed towards work related to clocks, sundials, and astrolabes. Most commonly considered the greatest of all Islamic architects, Mimar Sinan's career began with his appointment to the post of chief royal architect in the court of Ottoman Sultan Suleiman the Great. Sinan has long been compared to some of Europe's finest minds during the Renaissance period. He is sometimes compared to Michelangelo, and he's been given the title of Michelangelo of the Ottomans. Istanbul's famous Suleymaniye Mosque is a fine example of his genius, on par with the buildings in Florence and Venice at the very peak of Europe's Renaissance period. Sinan designed and developed more than 350 buildings, including places of worship, institutions of learning, bridges, hospitals, palaces, bathhouses, and mausoleums. His contribution to the field of Islamic architecture raised Ottoman standards to its very zenith. Sinan's architectural genius permitted him to design buildings that are characterized by elegance and clarity of internal space.
إن أعجبك الفيديو لا تنسى الإعجاب والاشتراك في القناة.